All right, welcome back. So this is Mr. Jones, and we're gonna sort of resume our investigation of area and perimeter with our math court case. So just to review the problem we were working on, Jerri the Jug was allegedly speeding through a red light, and her only alibi is that she found two shapes that have the same area and perimeter at that time, so it couldn't have been her speeding. So we have a couple of pieces of evidence brought forth by the prosecutors and the defense. So the prosecutors gave an example of two rectangles that have the same perimeter but have different areas. So that might be proving that maybe it's impossible to have two shapes with the same area and perimeter. The defense's example, they thought, well, if a square and a rhombus have the same side lengths, then maybe they would have the same area. However, it turns out that the formula for calculating a rhombus is actually you have to multiply the diagonals. And so that's going to give you a different area than this square, very likely. But that was a really great idea and a great way of thinking about the problem. The evidence part 2, the prosecutors this time were looking at area. So they found rectangles that had the same area, but this time it gave different perimeters. So that might be further evidence that, again, it's impossible to find two shapes with the same area and perimeter. The defense came up with another good idea. They thought, well, maybe if you divide a square in half and you end up with two triangles, those would definitely have the same area. However, when you do the math, you find out because these extra sides have been introduced, they won't have the same perimeter. So at this point in our trial, it's looking like Jerri might be convicted because the evidence is pretty strongly in favor of the prosecutors that it's not likely that you're able to find two shapes with the same perimeter. However, startling new evidence arises with something I'm calling the language twist. So when you're solving this problem, you could also interpret it as saying that there are two different shapes that have different areas from each other, different perimeters from each other, but each shape has the same area and perimeter itself. So in this case, we have a rectangle with a side length of 6 centimeters, a side length of 3 centimeters, and when we calculate the area and the perimeter, both of them end up being 18. Same goes with this square. The dimensions are 4 by 4, and when we calculate the area and perimeter, they end up being 16. So these are in fact two shapes with the same area and perimeter, and does fulfill the requirements and definitely justifies Jerri's alibi. Due to the surprising new evidence presented by the so-called language twist, the charges have been dropped against the plaintiff, Jerri the Jug. Jerri, you're free to go. Alright, thank you so much for watching part 2 of our video learning series. Stay tuned for more content.